Okay. I'd like to call to order the City Council meeting for Tuesday, January 3rd, 2017. Would the clerk is excused this evening for being ill, and City Administrator Little has been gracious enough to take on those duties. So, Administrator Little, could you please call the roll?
Alder O'Connor. Here. Alder Spate.
Here.
Alder Wood.
Here.
Alder Bussey.
Here.
Alder Holmquist.
Here.
Alder Kitzler.
Here.
And Mayor Miller.
Here. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And thank you. I know some of you had concerns about that just before Christmas. We canceled the last council meeting, and I know we have things on the agenda that are near and dear to people. So thank you for allowing everyone to take extended holiday breaks and the like. And just a reminder for those of you who tune into this, we will also have a Tuesday meeting in 2 weeks because of MLK holiday on that Monday. So this will be another Tuesday meeting, so on your schedules. Oops. Yeah, I know. That one this year I actually paid attention to it. Okay, approval of the minutes of the December 5th meeting of 2016. Is there a motion for approval? It's a motion and second. Are there any changes, corrections, or deletions? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The minutes have been approved. Appearances section. I have a number of registrants. Bear with me for just a second to try to set everything the same. Yep, they're all on the same item. So first, we have Susan Manning, who would like to register in favor of the resolution, the constitutional amendment for the Monona United to amend. Next, we have Kathleen Williams, 4909 Winnequa Road, would like to register in favor of the amendment. Joe Oyama Miller, 4903 Roygan Terrace, would like to register in favor of the motion, the United to amend. Linda Hetzel of 607 Greenway Road would like to register in favor of Monona United to amend. Waltrud Brinkman would like to speak. I'll go through the just registrants first, Wally. So excuse me. Al Sussler of 2725 Westview Court would like to register in favor of United to amend. Jonathan Engelhart, 209 Crestview Drive, would like to register in favor of United to amend. Patricia Gunlock of 5517 Pheasant Hill would like to register in favor to amend. And Jan Vinji of 5500 Toniwatha Trail would like to speak. And finally, former Alder Kathy Thomas, 5903, would like to register in favor of the United to amend. So, Jan Vinji, you registered you would like to speak. If you would come to the mic, please. Welcome.
Good evening. I thank the council. We thank your support in this effort that the citizens of Monona have pressed forward on, and we are very hopeful that this will get on the ballot in the spring. So I just wanted to say a thank you to you and to all the citizens of Monona that signed our petitions.
Thank you. And finally, Waltrud Brinkman of 5506 Toniwatha. Your big night as a citizen.
Yes. Okay. Well, good evening, Mayor Bob and council members. My name is Wally or Waltraud Brinkman, 5546 Tonya Water Trail. At your council meeting on the 5th of July, I was standing here speaking to you about the goals and the plans of a newly formed group, informal group, a nonpartisan group that we called Monona United to Amend. The United to Amend community, of which our group is part, is very concerned about the moneyed interest that is destroying our democracy. And we feel that the only permanent solution is to add an amendment to the U.S. Constitution saying that corporations are not people and money is not speech. 18 states have already passed a resolution in support of such an amendment, but Wisconsin is not yet one of them. In Wisconsin, nearly 100 municipalities have passed such a resolution to show our legislators that the citizens want the state of Wisconsin to call for such an amendment, and Monona is not yet one of them. So the goal of our group is therefore to have a resolution calling for an amendment to the U.S. Constitution and have it on the ballot at the spring election. As you know, in order to have something on the ballot, we have to collect signatures, and the number is at least 15% of the number of people who voted in the last governor's election. And for Monona, that is 718. We are also required to collect these signatures within a period of no more than 60 days. So this fall, a number of wonderful volunteers, and some of them are sitting over there, and also some representatives from the larger United to Amend community over there, all in support of this and supporting our work. So they went out, collect signatures by going to the farmers market, to the fall festival, and also door to door. And I would like to take this opportunity to publicly thank all of the wonderful volunteers and their great work in this. So today, I'm absolutely delighted to stand here again and to be able to say to you that we collected signatures, but we stopped within 21 days. The reason we stopped after 21 days is because at that point we had collected 1,232 signatures, which is far more than what we needed. It's clear evidence of the degree to which the citizens of Monona agree with us in our concerns. Most people, when we talked to them, just said, "Give me a pen, where do I sign?" So there are a bunch of documents that are attached to today's agenda. One of them is the city clerk's certificate of the signatures. And unfortunately, she is not here, but I really like to thank her for all the work she has done on our behalf. It was a lot of work. The package also includes the full resolution and the ballot language that we proposed and requested. It also includes the city attorney's legal opinion. And again, he's not here, but again, I would want to thank him for the very detailed and very thoughtful analysis of this. Now, as I stated in my letter to you, and that also is part of the package, we request that this language is placed on the ballot so that Monona residents have the opportunity to express their opinion. And based on our experience in the field, it very likely will be an overwhelming support of this resolution. So, thank you.
Just one point of
Yeah.
qualification. Well, I thank you for your effort and well-organized presentation. But I just want to make sure, I heard you just say it, but the council could pass this resolution on your behalf tonight, but it is the preference of yourself and your volunteers that rather than have us pass it,
Yeah.
you want to see it on the ballot
Yes.
and let the residents, okay.
And let them express their opinion.
All right,
Thank
just so everyone's clear on that you know, you can still approve it, I guess, but they want it on the ballot in lieu of us approving it as a city council. Any other questions of Walter? All right, yes, Alder Spate.
Come up in our discussion of the matter, but it's also, I imagine, your understanding that if the community does vote to pass this amendment, the council will then vote up or down, yes or no, with respect to that same language. That was my reading of the packet.
That is my understanding, yes.
it?
Okay.
I thought
That
it
you
was a
pass the
done deal
resolution
then.
then. Mhm.
Oh, okay.
But either way, I guess,
All right.
well, I won't be here, so you guys decide how you're going to vote on it. All right. Normally I would adjust the schedule, but we have a light, so if you could just bear with us on a few making sausage items, we'll be right to your topic. So there is no one here for the public hearing. There is not a public hearing this evening. Consent agenda, we have a number of licenses for approval. Is there a motion for approval? Second? Motion second. All those in favor of approval say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Licenses have been approved. Under item G, council action items, there's no unfinished business this evening. And new business, item G2, you will note starred for immediate action. Item 2A is consideration of resolution 17-1-2137, purchase approval of one current model year, 1-ton single rear wheel chassis cab brought forth by the Public Works Committee. I will note that at Personnel and Finance this evening, this was approved. Is there a motion to take this item out of order?
Second.
I'll let April pick who was. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Is there a motion for approval?
Move approval.
Is there a second? Second. Motion and second. Mr. Stefani?
Thank you, Mayor. Before you, we have the resolution and fiscal note and some supporting documents for the request to purchase a single rear wheel F-350 Super Duty chassis cab from Ewell Automotive. The Public Works Committee reviewed this and recommended approval at the December 7th meeting. We have $46,500 in our 2017 capital budget to pay for this new truck. The old truck will go to auction once we receive the new truck. We did seek pricing locally as well. We sent the RFP to Zimbrick Chevrolet and Kaiser Ford. The upfit that we have is separate from this resolution. The resolution is for $29,755 for Ewald. Our upfit for the truck will be $13,505. And when this purchase is complete, we should have just over $3,000 remaining in the line item.
One question I failed to ask earlier, Dan. Did this go through this, is this, all these submitters were part of the state bid contracts?
Kaiser usually is. For some reason, they did not bid on the state contract this year.
Ewald for sure is, right?
Ewald is for sure.
Yeah.
They bid every year. Zimbrick does not bid on the state contract.
Okay.
It was the request of the Public Works Committee that we get local pricing,
Yep.
and we did do that. But the state contract still wins out. So.
Good. Questions? Hearing none, would the clerk please call the roll?
Alder Spate,
Aye.
Alder Wood,
Aye.
Alder Bussey,
Aye.
Alder Holmquist,
Aye.
Alder Kitzler,
Aye.
Alder O'Connor, aye.
Go get your truck.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item G2B is consideration of Resolution 17-1-2138 by the City of Monona electors supporting a constitutional amendment. Start for immediate action. Is there a motion to suspend the rules and take this out of order? Motion and second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Oppose? Is there a motion for approval?
Move approval.
Second.
Motion and second. Discussion. Alder Spate and Alder Wood.
So I reread Council Cole's advice to us, and I was a little confused, but it does say that if this item is in fact, certified by the city clerk, and I don't think it has yet been certified. Is that or
it was.
Or it was certified. Okay,
Yep.
so
That's in your packet too. On the
Okay.
next page of this.
got it. So since it's been certified, we have 30 days to either vote on this or it will be placed on the ballot. But we can pass it, and in passing it, we can state that we would like to also have it placed on the ballot. So it's not just an either or. There's the third way.
Okay.
And so I'll let others make comments, but it is my intent to make a motion that
All
we
right.
pass it and place it on the ballot.
Perfect. Alder Wood.
Just one thing, and I just noticed this tonight, that the certification was November 22nd, so the 30 days have already passed, so not sure that we really have an option at this point, other than to put it on the ballot. But I would agree with Alder Spade. I would support both the council passing it and then placing it on the ballot as well.
Alder Holmquist.
We all picked up on the same piece.
All right.
Hypothetically speaking, if we place something on the ballot that we've already approved, and we don't get an overwhelming support, which I don't think that would be the case here, what would that message be back to the council at that time? And I ask that just openly in the sense of, not just for this issue, for any issue of why we would want to solicit residents to vote on something that we've already made a decision on. So part of me supports the idea of that time has passed, and the folks that have collected the signatures are in favor of getting the public to be able to speak through the election upcoming. That I'd rather let that happen, but voice our thanks for doing all the hard work to get it to that part, but there's only a short window of time. And then people have that opportunity.
Further discussion? Alder Bussey.
I guess I would agree that to not make a decision tonight, to let the public make their decision. I think that's the intent of the folks that did all the hard work to do it. And when I read this, it just brought up a bunch of questions. And if you'll just indulge me, I'd like to go through some of the questions that it triggered for me. It indicated that it's not just corporations, but it's not corporations, but unions, nonprofits, or other artificial entities. So I don't know, what that would exclude then would be organizations like the NAACP, the Red Cross, Planned Parenthood, NRA, AFL-CIO. None of those would be allowed to have contributions. I understand where big money comes in, but there's also the uber rich that would still be, what happens to them? What happens to their ability? Are PACs then, are they excluded from contributing?
Could I ask, did you say someone was here from the organization?
Yeah, if you could.
Whoever would probably be most competent
Who could
to
answer some of
these
those
questions. If
I
you
got a
could
few
come up.
questions, yeah.
Yep, that would be great.
because I think it's important to,
And introduce yourself.
how you doing? I'll go back, okay? We'll take them one at a time. So, I'm out of order here, but, so it would be that all, unions, corporations, all, not-for-profits, all those entities would be excluded, correct?
All of those entities would know, it would be clarifying in the Constitution that all of those entities do not have constitutionally given rights the way the people do.
So
Did
it's
I
not
answer the
just, so if they don't have rights like people do, that's more than just money, because
Right.
there are, if you go back on the history of incorporation, it was a way to, for an entity, I think it started over in Europe, like with churches. It was a way to continue past death, to hold property and things like that. And I just want the public to be educated and to know what they're getting into.
Sure.
And it's real fresh in my memory after everybody got their tax bill and said, what happened here? And we say, do you remember the school referendum? And they go, what school referendum? So I want it, sorry, Sue. I want it clear that, that everybody understands. If would PACs be excluded?
So,
Political action.
oh yes, I'm sorry, I forgot to do that. George Penn, like Pennsylvania, and I'm with Wisconsin United to Men, so the state group. So the constitutional amendment is to clarify in the Constitution that corporations and those entities and any entity that is not a biological human being does not have rights under the Constitution because they are not. It clarifies that they're not persons, and therefore they don't have the rights of the human beings as identified in the Constitution. You see what
So
I'm saying?
would a political action committee be able to contribute to an election?
This amendment does not say who can contribute or not. All it says is they don't have rights that make it impossible for us to limit them. You see, the key is this. The point is, at this point, because they are considered persons equal to human beings under the Constitution, we cannot limit anything we couldn't limit for each person, like the right to speak or the right to do anything, and therefore that gives them undue power.
So, but let me. Okay. So a PAC would not be able to contribute to a campaign.
Yeah, PAC would still be able to contribute to a campaign. A rich person could contribute. Corporations could contribute.
What's the difference between a PAC and a union or a corporation?
So they all could contribute money if the government made the rules that they could. See, right now, because of the Supreme Court, you cannot. The federal government, the state government cannot pass laws to limit the money they spend. We want to give that right back to the government to limit as appropriate to protect the rights of the people.
And that was back in 2010 when the law changed and it turned open the faucets on this.
So that was opening the floodgates, yes.
So it's not so much the objection to corporations contributing, it's that they are considered on a being,
a person.
That's what your objection is. Your objection is not that corporations can contribute, funds to.
That's right.
That's what the issue is here.
That's what the issue is. That we believe the Constitution has not given them person rights. The courts have over 150 years, slowly through judiciary precedents and those kind of tools, made it apparent. And we say we got to clarify that it's not apparent.
It looks like we're focusing on one issue here, but if we take it away, if we take the term person and a corporation couldn't be a person, we're going through the recodification, and you change one thing, and it has impacts throughout our laws. How are we going to educate the public? How would you propose we educate the public on the impact of changing the word person or not allowing a corporation to be considered a person? The right to hold land, to enter into contracts.
Making.
I'm not an attorney, but I just want the public to be educated.
So taking away the myth that they're persons does not take away any privilege that the government can give to them. See, when corporations were first started in the 1800s, they had to get a charter from the state as they do now. And in those charters it said literally that you have no right to give money to any patient. You have no right to try to sway the government. You have only a certain life we give you, and then you don't exist. So it had all of these limits from the beginning of time on corporations that have been absolved. These limits have been absolved. However, when they had those limits, they operated properly, because the point is, we don't want corporations to go under. You don't want corporations to go under. Now we're going to start treating them as property, which is that they are to us, and we're going to give them privileges to do everything they want to do if it's in the good of the citizens. See, so we're taking away personhood, which gives them rights that we can't limit as we would a person. We're not taking away rights specifically to do anything. We're taking away the right to have it, even if the government doesn't want it.
What I find troubling in a couple of the whereases here is that it says the untenable decision of the Supreme Court changed the course of American elections, established the doctrine that spending money to influence the election is a form of free speech. Then it goes on and says that they overturned a century of precedents by ruling that corporate spending on elections cannot be limited under the First Amendment. When I first read this, I got the impression that this was about funding elections. But what you're telling me is this isn't just about funding elections, that there's a much bigger issue that you're
bigger.
Trying to get across here.
Much bigger. Can I give you an example?
Sure. Give me an
All
example.
right. Massachusetts went through the process through the process from all the way up for passing a law that says you cannot advertise cigarettes within 1,000 feet of a school. Why? Because they want to try to cut off the advertising that brings the children in at a young age, right? And try to reduce smoking, which is bad for health. Went through all the processes and things, went to the state, made a law. The tobacco industry took it to the Supreme Court, and the court says they have a right to free speech. Therefore, your law is invalid. There's hundreds of those. Point is, right, because they're persons and they have a right to free speech, we can't limit that speech. And therefore, they could put the ad right on the street in front of the school. You can't stop them. So it's much bigger than the elections. You
But
can't go through all of those things when you're talking to people.
Well, yeah, but when I read this, it looked like it was targeted towards, and if I were to just be on a door, my concern is that somebody on a doorstep reads this and focused on elections the same way I did in election spending, that they thought it was just that we didn't want corporations to be the major funding of our elections. But I don't want to repeat myself, but that's not what this is about. It's not just elections. It's about changing the whole way that corporations are legally viewed in this country.
That's what it's about.
Thank you.
But you had a second question. Did you?
No, that's good enough.
Okay.
I just wanted to add to the discussion. I think really another way to look at this is that it's attempting to restore the status quo,
Yes.
which existed prior to the Citizens United ruling 6 years ago. So it's really not asking that we do something that unusual. It's actually saying, let's go back pre that Supreme Court ruling, which, I mean, you can disagree or agree with their ruling. But I would argue, as I think your group is arguing, that it was a fairly radical ruling to suggest that a corporation cannot be regulated and that it has the rights of a human being. And this is what we're trying to undo. So it's not really it's really trying to restore the world that we knew for the entire 20th century, and really in time immemorial. I mean, the progressive era addressed this in the 1920s, but that's only because corporations had gotten rather clever at undoing a lot of these things, and certain rights were limited, and more regulation was accepted and embraced by the courts. And then with Citizens United, all that got overturned. So it's really just a return to the status quo.
But it's not just corporations. we're talking, it's, and I might disagree with you, but, we're talking, unions, we're talking nonprofit organizations, and I just hope that the public educates themselves on the big picture impact that this would have.
Couple points. I guess one is, there's two therefore be it resolved clauses. And the first one really just basically says that only human beings have constitutional rights, so that corporations, unions, nonprofits don't have constitutional rights. That doesn't mean that they can't be granted rights by legislative bodies. The second part really goes back to support undoing the 1976 Supreme Court decision that treated spending money in political campaigns as a form of speech, and which has really hampered attempts to restrict the influence of money in political campaigns, whether it's coming from corporations or individuals. So that's sort of the second leg of it.
Additional comments? All right, as I see it
Got a hand over there.
Yes, Alder Spate?
I don't know where we stand on the motion.
There wasn't a motion.
But, so,
It's on, just to clarify though, it is on the ballot because the
Yep.
time for us to react has expired.
Yep,
So
understood.
The desire of the group, it's on there. It's just if this body wants to do anything in addition to having this go on the ballot.
Yep. So to that point, I just wanted to say, and I hear what others have said, and I guess obviously when the citizens of Monona go into the ballot box, they will be able to cast their ballot anonymously, and we'll see the results of that. But as elected officials, personally, I'm willing to take a stand on this issue as a representative of the people. And while I am willing to put that off until after the election, I see no reason why we can't take a stand as the representatives of the people of Monona. It would be my preference tonight. Again, I'm willing to honor what this body wants to do, but I would like for us to simply take a vote on the matter, understanding that this will still be on the ballot, as it should be, and I think it's good for us to state our case. Now, I also know that this is the first reading of this, and while I would
No, we moved it. It's not,
well,
we suspended the rules.
I know we did, but I'm saying,
Oh,
we
okay.
could move to table it and bring it back next time. So
Okay.
it's going to be on the ballot. It's by the course of the clock starting to tick, and so this will be on the ballot, just to be clear. But I would make a motion that we go ahead and vote on this as a body tonight as well.
All right, Alder Holmquist, I've heard, I note your motion, he had his hand up.
So I have a concern with us taking a vote on it tonight, and it has less to do with this issue and more to do with setting precedent of, I'll speak for myself. I'm in support of this, but I'm not in support of the council voting in favor of this and then placing it on a ballot with the idea of, if I take issue X, some other issue that I feel strongly, and a group shows up and says, yep, we got these number of signatures and we approve that, and we go, yeah. And then there's additional information that comes out between now and election time. And there's new information that comes out, and we've already made this kind of place marker in the sand that, no, we say this, but yeah, we want to ask you to now vote on it again. And then what do we do over here? I don't think that's a wise thing for us to do. I'm concerned if we vote on this tonight, there may be some of us that will vote against that, which can send the wrong message. And I would say my vote would not be in favor of that, and I would unfortunately come across to many as not supporting this, which I do support this individually, and I believe it's the right thing to do for Monona, but I wouldn't be able to support it tonight.
Alder O'Connor?
I think Alder Holmquist made some very good points. I completely support this. I even collected some signatures for it. But I agree. I think we should wait until after we get the results of the election and then see.
Further discussion? Otherwise, there's a motion. Oh,
I
who?
never got a
Who?
There's no second.
There's no second
no
yet.
second.
But
But I'm not
Um,
clear on what why we would vote on it after the election. I mean, what would we be voting on? I mean, if we wanted more time to consider whether to approve it in advance of the election to make a statement of support or non-support, that's one thing, but.
yes, Alder Bussey.
Wouldn't the voters of Monona be making the statement?
Right.
And isn't that more important than what 6 people sitting here have had this for 3 days? You know, what our opinion is? I think that it's going to be on the ballot, which I think it should be. And what I would like to do is move to table.
All right. First, I have to
Yep.
honor Alder Spate's motion. And you want to restate that motion, Alder Spate?
My motion is that we take a vote on this resolution tonight, as well as sending it on to be, as it will be, on the ballot in April.
There's a motion before us. Is there a second? Is there a second? Is there a second? I do not hear a second. There's a motion from Alder Bussey to table.
Or, if I
Yes,
may interject,
yes,
just
you
once
may.
we get a second
Yep.
on that, it's not debatable. I just want to, I'm just trying to read through the statute here. I would feel more comfortable than passing this resolution to make sure it's on the ballot and not say, well, if the 30 days have passed, that means it's mandatory that it's be on. I think that's the correct reading. But if we pass it, then there's no doubt, and plus it specifies which election it would be at, so I think, I think that would be the wiser course, in my opinion.
To table?
No, to pass this resolution that we have in our packet. Pass it to put it on so that it's, I think it's clear that it's on the ballot by statutory operation, but I would, with an excess of caution, perhaps, pass the resolution that the council says it will be on the ballots in case, because the city attorney didn't address that question since he wrote his memo before, obviously well before the 30 days expired. So,
Yes.
I think he's on the phone with the
Right.
council.
okay.
I was going to entertain a motion that we, as a council, ask that this petition be placed on the ballot in April.
That's what this is.
Right. Well, I'm
Yeah.
I'm asking that I make a motion to put it on the ballot.
I thought we already had that. Didn't we have a motion to approve this resolution? Huh?
Alder Bussey.
Oh.
I think there's ambiguity about, and from the counsel that we received from Attorney Cole,
I thought this was going to be so easy, so I told him to stay home.
Yeah, I do too.
I know we moved to suspend rules. I thought we had a motion to approve the resolution. Maybe not.
I'm not
Got sidetracked.
I guess that's
getting hold of him.
No,
All right.
yeah.
So,
Required to either
My
pass
motion is waiting for a second.
We don't need to table. Well, no,
Yeah,
we
you
do
need-
need a second. So is there a second to table?
Do we have, first of all, do we have a motion before us on to pass this resolution?
Yes.
We didn't second it.
It wasn't
Okay.
seconded.
Wasn't seconded.
No, that was, Chad was making a different.
No, all we had was, no, we did, can you check the?
Okay.
So we
Way
moved
back.
to suspend the rules, take this out of order. That passed.
Wow.
Then there was immediate, was there not a motion and second for approval
I thought
of the
there was.
resolution?
Yeah, I think there was.
must have
but
been.
it's not-
What you had said is that it was a motion to go ahead and vote as well as sending it onto the ballot. I'm pretty much doing it how you said
Before,
it,
as soon
though.
as we pass the pass the motion,
To
Take
suspend
it out
the
of order,
rules.
suspend the
What's the
rules.
next thing you wrote in?
and there should be somebody fess up.
Oh, my
Make a
gosh.
motion.
I made the
You
motion.
made the motion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then,
I
Okay.
think Andy and I both seconded it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just make a motion to put it on the ballot.
Yeah,
Motion to
that's what I
take it
think
out
we
of
should.
order.
On this.
You did make
Yeah.
a motion to approve.
Right.
Yeah, you did.
Motion to.
Seconded by Mary.
Okay, sorry.
Because it's not debatable. So there's a motion to table. Is there a second?
What's it
Is
say?
there a second? Is there a second? I do not hear a second. Is there a new motion? Alder Kitzler.
I put forward a motion to put on the ballot the language as stated in our packet for the United to Amend ballot language on the ballot on April 4th, 2017 election.
There's a motion and second. Discussion. Alder Colmquist.
So when you are indicating a motion to approve, are you talking that's what was asked,
On
the
the
motion
ballot.
of approving the ballot language, but what we have in front of us, the resolution?
I believe I said to put on the ballot ballot language as approved in our packet.
What is called
as in our
ballot
packet.
language, correct?
That, yes, because ballot language, is that starting at the
That's
resolution?
this.
Which, the resolution, the last, therefore be it resolved? The next one, be it
I'm-
further resolved?
I'm not even looking
No,
at the
he's
resolution.
looking at
It's,
this sheet.
I don't know what page it
Last
is,
sheet,
but
nothing to do with the resolution.
yeah.
It's the ballot language. He's asking that the ballot language be approved to be placed on the ballot.
We don't
And that-
approve ballot language,
Pardon? What's that?
but we don't approve ballot language.
It's forwarding the ballot language to put on the April 2017
It's not
ballot.
approving the language.
It's
It's,
just
he's requesting
approving that
that
it
it
goes
be
on
put
the
on the
ballot.
ballot, just to take away any ambiguity that the clock ticked or did not tick. So this is just to put that language.
On
On
the
the
ballot.
ballot.
So you're not connecting the resolution at
No.
all to it?
No.
I think that's how I
So
understood
although
it,
this is
so.
underneath the heading of this resolution,
Yes, because that was,
yeah, I would want
I
to
think
cancel
most-
this and do a second.
Because you
So
don't have to
this- we
pass a
think this-
resolution.
We think this language is gonna be on the ballot.
Mm-hmm.
What Alder Kitzler is saying is, let's make sure it gets on the ballot
right.
through his amendment, or through his, that's what he's saying. We
But
think it's
Alder
on here
Holmquist's
because
concern
But I
is
don't know
that
if we
this-
have the authority to do that.
well, this is, we think what we're reading is that this, because the 30 days has passed, that this is gonna be on the ballot, period. He just wants to make sure that it is.
But do we have the authority to do that?
Yes.
Well, we
I don't
tried,
know.
the mayor tried to reach city attorney, so we can't get him his answer on that. So
It's our
I
intent.
think we should vote on
Come up.
it and, yeah.
All right, is there a second to it?
May I,
Yes, it
I'll
was.
second.
Yeah, it was seconded.
I-
I'll-
I just want to read again what since
Come
Bill
up,
can't
sir.
be here, his final paragraph says, as such, the Common Council is required to either pass the resolution within 30 days of the city clerk's certification or to place the matter on the ballot at the spring election. The motion before us is to place this on the ballot. And yet the 30 days has already passed. So it seems like we're almost obliged to do exactly that, which is to place it on the ballot. And that's what I think this motion is asking our clerk to do.
Comfortable with that, Alder Holmquist? I think that reading's
As long as
correct.
it's not part of the whole resolution,
Right.
and
It's
that's a
not.
separate line, absolutely.
Just follow through on the attorney's recommendation and Alder Kitzler's motion
Yep.
in second. You wanted to add something, sir?
Well, I could, so there's different components here, and we make sure that the language is consistent among them, right? The language on the petition, the language on the ballot recommendation, and the language in the resolution are all the same, right? The point is, we go get the signatures to tell you we want it passed. You have two choices. What we want passed is that last one, the resolution, the big one. That's what you'll vote on afterwards. But we choose to take that intermediate step of putting it on a ballot. Sounds like you're doing one thing. One way you can do it, you can say is, we're going to pass a motion tonight to put it on a ballot. And then when the ballot's over, then we'll talk about the resolution.
Because that has had it on forwarding it to the state and feds and all that.
That's right.
That's in the resolution.
All right, so I'm going to ask that we're going to be voting on Alder Kitzler's motion to put the ballot language as stated in the packet on the ballot. Is there further discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed. All right, we also have a motion of approval of the, yes. No, no. No, it was
No.
seconded by either Alder Kitzler or Alder O'Connor right off. We dropped
At the beginning.
at the
It
beginning,
wasn't
yes.
approving Chad's proposal.
It wasn't
not
the
Chad's
intermediate, it
approval,
was
the
just this
That was the
resolution.
resolution.
We moved it to tonight, yep. And then, so I immediately called, is there a motion for approval? Yes, and then we opened up the discussion. So we still have before us that. Do the makers and the seconders of that resolution care to continue on with that?
Based on our discussion, I will offer to withdraw that motion.
That's what I was hoping to
Yeah.
hear, and I hope the second,
and whoever
all right,
seconded it.
that's good. We withdrew that, so congratulations, thank you. This democracy is an ugly business, so thank you very much. Thank you, council. All right, moving on to reports of committees, commissions, boards, mayor, city administrator. Alder O'Connor?
No report.
Alder Spate?
No report.
Alder Wood?
No report.
Alder Kitzlar?
Some important dates I'm going to give you. So we are asking the public, as well as any board connected to the library. We do have 4 candidates coming to the library to do in-person interviews with the library board, with the public, and with the library staff. So just so you guys know, you'll be getting more information, but for the millions of people watching, I will give you some dates and times of when they will be here. Thursday, January 12th is our first candidate at 4 p.m. The total timing and when the public forum will be, those details will come out, but it'll be starting at 4. The second candidate is tentatively set for Friday, January 13th at 4 p.m. The third candidate is Sunday, January 15th, starting at 3 p.m. And then the fourth candidate is Thursday, January 19th at 4 p.m. Again, more details will be coming out, but we ask, the public to be involved, and it'd be great to see everyone here there.
Would you follow up with Will, please, April, and see if it can arrange to have the public part of those interviews? They did that with the school superintendent, and I found that very helpful because I couldn't make all of them, and I got to see them. So let's see if we can record those. And are you asking for people to be involved in? Do you have your hiring committee put together?
So we do have a hiring committee, which is essentially the library board. So the full process is 4 hours. An hour is going to be devoted just to the library board. An hour is going to be devoted to the staff. And then there's going to be a public forum where they'll do a little bit of a presentation, and we're asking the public, council members, et cetera, to attend. And then there'll be feedback forums and different things like that.
Okay.
So, yeah. And then my final thing is Loud in the Library, which is the library's fundraiser. Hopefully everyone can make it. It's January 29th at 7 p.m. right here in the library.
It'll be a good time.
Yep.
Excellent MC, I hear. So Alder Holmquist. Alder Bussey.
No report?
City Administrator Little. Am I passing these?
Yes, please,
Okay.
you're right, just that way. I'm just passing out tonight, a couple of you, I think, have seen this. It's a list of some priority projects. Many of them are on our strategic plan, and we have also added a few that have come from staff and some more internal type goals. So I thought you might like to just see kind of a listing of the projects that we're working on. One of the big things that we'll all be working on is the university year project, and I think that's going to keep us all busy all year. When you actually print the reports out, they're about half a foot thick, so that will keep us very busy this year. But if you had any comments or things, after you take a little review of this, any feedback would be most appreciated, so.
Thank you, April, for putting this together as we did year-end review. I found this document to be very helpful, and then she's got a lot of backup. And the other thing I've asked as part of her annual review and it is to get more engaged with you as alders. So if you could find some time that she'll be reaching out to, it's just, I think it's really good for the alders to stay in touch with the city administrator. So don't be surprised when she comes and knocking on your door. So thank you. Anything else?
Nope, I think I've reached out to, I think I gotta send you a note, just if you could get back to me about a time. I know with the holidays, it's always hard to schedule things, and we all lose track of things like that, so.
Few things, again, as I've tossing out compliments, I want to also thank you. If you looked at the end of your board packet, it was the most complete staff reports that I've seen, and I love the format, and it's very easy to find out what's going on. Jake, if you're watching, I will note there was not one from the Parks Department, so we failed to have 100% participation, as was noted in last month's minutes, asking that once a month all department heads. So I just had lunch with Jake last week too, and I just let that one slip past. The other item, Joan's not here, so this is not official from the city clerk's office, but in terms of races, aldermanic and mayoral races, I am aware that at least 3 aldermanic candidates, including Alders Spate and Alders Wood, as incumbents, and then Nancy Moore as a newcomer, that there's 3. There was one other candidate who took out papers, but I am not sure if there's a 4th candidate. There are 3 seats available, so if there is only 3, there's only 3. As it relates to mayoral, in addition to Alder O'Connor's candidacy, Phil DeVillers, a Monona resident, Monona Drive, did turn in submitted signatures. And again, all these signatures have to be proven, but I think there was a plethora of all the candidates, so I'm sure.
It appears that it's
So the one thing this body will need to start thinking of, the potential, but just you get to make the rules, as Alder Bussey is stepping down and I'm stepping down. But if there are 3 seats open and 3 candidates, and if by chance Alder O'Connor becomes the next mayor, that seat's open, and how you're going to fill that seat. So this has been done in the past. You might want to, Alder Wood would remember all the permutations probably of how this has been dealt with, but that could come up. Then finally, as noted in last month's meeting, with the Riverfront project, continues to move in a very positive, I would say very positive mode. This month's CDA, we've invited the 2 leading candidates to do their final submissions, which I would expect that there be a selected choice comes out of that meeting that would go into negotiations, firm negotiations to do a development agreement. And both parties want to have shovels in the ground in 2017. So good news on that front. Hopefully everyone had a wonderful holiday, and as I did, with 5 meetings to go, Alder Bussey. I see that smile. I see that smile. We do have one appointment, long-term, very long-time member of the Public Works Committee. Bruce McConnell is asked to continue serving. Yeah, it's been on forever, since there was a public to work on. Is there a...
We'll make sure that he.
Yeah, no.
Move approval.
Second. Motion for approval, second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion for adjournment?
Move to adjourn.
Second. Motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned. Thanks, everyone.